Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Our guest of today is Michael. He's the CEO of Energy.ai. And yeah, Michael, why don't you tell a little bit more about yourself and some of the amazing things your company is doing?
Hi, Joey. Thanks for having me. Sure, that's pretty open-ended, but I'm happy to be here. We're doing some pretty special things in the energy industry as AI is taking over the world in many different ways. But what we find is that occasionally hard to understand how to use AI effectively and make it meaningful. So what we're doing for the energy industry, and specifically with companies that trade energy, electricity on the open market in the United States, is that we're taking massive amounts of telemetry that are out there, or different kinds of information that people might use for trading, and we're distilling that down into signal and then into intelligence to help them really understand exactly which data is meaningful in their trading decisions.
Sounds really good. And from what you guys are doing, if you could just shortly describe, I mean, you already said it like briefly, but what's the biggest benefit of companies who are actually trading energy for you using your service?
It's time and profitability by virtue of being able to make really clear decisions very quickly. And it does that by, if you imagine inverting the pyramid. Normally there's a lot of data and that you're filtering the data down and you're trying to get to the exact piece that you want. And we sort of flip that over and say, okay, here's the top of the pyramid and here's the information that you want. And then here's all the supporting evidence leading up to the information that you want.
Very nice, because there's like a very clear structure on how like the companies get the information. It's probably also a lot more easier to make a decision based on the information they're getting because it's much more clear.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like we eliminate, you can still look at all of your legacy tools and all understand all of your dashboards and everything else. And you can look at the information raw if you want to. But the thing is that at the same time, we're going to provide you that clarity, that intelligence that sits above it. So you're not ripping and replacing any of your systems with us. First step is that we'll take all the information that's available publicly that doesn't require any integration whatsoever. You can log in and you get value right away. And then as you go down the journey with us, you can wire us into more and more of your data sources, and we can just surface more intel and more signal and just reduce that noise level and make it clearer for you.
Sounds really good. And what is the main reason you guys started this?
It's pretty interesting. The first thing is the AI itself. The availability of the tools and the availability of the structures that are out there is becoming more and more prevalent. I've had some opportunity to have early access to a lot of those things, so I've been able to see when it's the right time to leap. But the real thing happened with a client, right? Where we had a client that had multiple autonomous algo trading tools. And what I've seen is there's all these different siloed tools that use AI. They bolt AI onto their existing tool, which has some value to it, but it also has a problem because now you're just creating more and more silos of information. You have to log into 27 different sources to do anything. We saw this happening at a client where they were having these automated trading bots, if you will, sending trades to the market, but they really had very little visibility and control or granularity as to what was going on. And so they asked us, hey, because we were sitting in between those bots and the market, and they asked us, can you give us some manual switches to turn these things on and off when the machine goes crazy? And I'm like, sure, we can do that. And we did it. And we gave them those switches, but I'm sitting there going, there needs to be a logical overlay to all of this stuff. There needs to be something that breaks through the silos, something that understands at a higher level what's going on and helps humans interact with the machine to get better results. And the other component that drove us to do this was that I feel like most of the things that I see out there, between either they're bolting onto an existing tool or they are setting up things for full-on automation where there's no human involved. And my experience right now, even if you've used ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is a tremendous tool. ChatGPT also makes mistakes, right? And so it needs the human to be able to interpret that and go, that's right, that's not right. So there needs to be that human in the loop all the time.
And I love what you're saying, because especially right nowadays where like things are moving so quick with technology and AI, right? It's like sometimes it's difficult, like you can make the mistake to go with the hype. And then you are using a lot of tools because you're thinking if you're not using it, you're missing out, right? Because your competitors are using it. But at the same time, if you're using it, but you're doing it because you're afraid of missing out, there's also a risk of you having certain tools which might not be the most efficient tool for your own business, right?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you make that point. It's actually interesting being a software company in this day and age, right? Because you almost second guess yourself when you've built something, because you're building it and you're like, oh, there's a new tool to be able to use that wasn't available yesterday, or literally. But it's fun. If you're like me, who really loves technology and loves the advancement, you embrace that. Not that we're changing technologies every 5 minutes. You have to do some things, because most of the people have not implemented pervasive AI at scale in their large enterprises, or in even their small enterprises. They're using little bits and tools like you were just talking about. There's a new tool. We want to become something that becomes a backbone, that we're cutting edge enough where you feel like, hey, we're getting the best of things that have been tested, as opposed to things that are just so new that no one even knows about them yet. It's an interesting time to be in a software company, is what all I can say.
Very nice. And also like what you're saying, like we're so passionate about the tech side. It's also very important because as long as people are using your service, it's like it seems like you guys are also doing your best to stay on top of the market. So even if those people have the fear of missing out, if like you're using a service which is on top of the market, which is delivering consistently on a very reliable rate, it chips away from the stuff that you need to keep searching because you already have something in place which works.
Right. And my thing is, I'm going on a journey with my customers. I'm not saying, okay, here's the product and it's never going to develop. I anticipate you buy this product and next week we'll have some extra value. And the following week we'll have some extra value. And the following week, so we're growing and learning and interacting with our customers and saying, hey, this is great. What's next? Where do we go with this? How do we grow this together? You make some really tremendous points as far as liability and understanding and keeping apprised of what's going on in the market. So you're spot on there.
Yeah, and like of course there's like a lot of tech and AI involved, right, in what you guys are doing. And where do you see like your vision? And it might be a little bit of a difficult question to answer as things are just moving so quick. But at the same time, like where do you see like technology and AI going in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 to 3 years is impossible. Right? I don't think anybody knows what that is. I just think it's going to be a continuous, interesting mix of where the human ends and where the machine begins, right? And where that handoff point is. But a lot of people are scared of that. To me, it's a tool, right? It's like, okay, if I want to dig a hole in the backyard, do I use a shovel or do I use a bobcat? I use a bobcat because I clear more dirt quickly. But if I don't know how to use that, right, I'll knock down trees and ruin my yard and make my wife very angry with me. So I have to understand how to use those tools to the best of their ability. To me, there's going to be this constant push and pull in where things land. And the folks who use the tools effectively will be able to use their brains for better things, okay? Instead of doing the mundane things, they can have the machine do the mundane things and get their mind on more critical thinking, which I think is a good thing for the world.
And I love what you're saying. Like what you're saying, for me, it's a tool. How I can do things in a more efficient way. And that's the biggest, I think, mind shift for people who are really going to succeed in the next 5 to 10 years, is that they're thinking like, it's going really quick. So how can I use this in my advantage instead of being afraid for change? Because we humans, we like to stay in our comfort zone, right? Same with the internet, like 20 years ago, like many people were afraid of it, but look where it is right now. It's so part of the way we live that we cannot even think about going without internet anymore.
Great point. And so it'll become a part of it. And like anything else, right, there will be good and bad parts of it. There will be evil parts of AI. If we know more about it and we use it, it's the best way of keeping it as good and as positive for society as possible, as opposed to just putting blinders on and letting it go do its thing. That's not the way to go, in my view anyway.
Very nice. So instead of like you being afraid, embracing it. And I think even if you would go through this, if you put this on business as well, same mindset, right? Like we're doing business, you have to like embrace the opportunities, embrace the challenges which are there, right? Instead of you being afraid of failing, because that way you will never really gonna grow. What are some of the challenges you guys have faced during growing the business, and how did you solve those challenges?
First is getting our own team to embrace. Everybody's got a different level of fear. So the whole thing is teaching my team that AI is not here to replace anybody. We're looking to hire, not to fire, but repositioning people in different ways in their roles. If you're a software coder, you need to be using AI to code because you can write much more code and AI can help you unit test and all of those things. You need to learn that. So embracing that but making people feel comfortable. So internally, that's a challenge. Another challenge is that, and this is probably a universal statement all over the globe, but I happen to have experience in the United States and Canada with this comment, is that the information backbone of the energy industry is not uniformly modern, put it politely. There are flat files and spreadsheets and legacy systems all over the place. And so you've got, sometimes you're accessing information and it's a nice clean API, you get a JSON back and everybody's happy. And sometimes you hit an API and you get a flat file back. And sometimes there is no API. And so there's a bunch of different challenges with regard to data retrieval, data cleaning, data mining, data analysis that comes incumbent with the energy industry. That's probably amongst the worst of the industries. Because if you think about it, even no matter where you are, right, there are physical power lines and transformers and things to get the electricity to your home. Those things last 50 years, right, or 20 years or what have you. They don't get changed out every 5 minutes because someone wants that. So the systems that run those things last a long time. So there's a tremendous amount of legacy information flowing through that requires careful parsing, if you will.
Yeah, makes sense. And what are some of the channels or some of the tools you guys are using at this moment to acquire new customers?
To acquire new customers, I mean, that's really interesting because that's an entire go-to-market strategy, and go-to-market tools is an entirely new area as well. We use traditional tools like HubSpot and ZoomInfo, and we're using a tool called Clay. We're using Yesware, a number of different tools out there for outreach, and then looking into different retargeting tools and what creatives are we making with HTML5 ads, and which things are tools that are assisting my design team to build things versus which things are just purely AI where you're typing in a prompt and going, using Gamma for presentations, using Visme for infographics. There's a bunch of different tools. I mean, it's a mile a minute. We've used different tools for AI-based audio and video. We're getting more into that for content generation. Some of it is interesting because you have to have a standard varies as far as what you're willing to accept and what you think what will resonate with your customers.
And what do you mean by that? With your standard?
Some of the video tools right now are not producing things that I feel like they're immediately identifiable as AI. Right? It's like, oh, that's an AI little thing, looks like technology, and it's wiggling on the screen, and it's supposed to excite somebody. And to me, it's like I want it to be grounded in more something that feels more real. That feels like again a blend between what a human and a machine would do together.
100% makes sense. And like Energy.ai, like how long are you guys in the market for?
We're not yet. We're launching on October 29th, excuse me. So we have an ERCOT market brief that's on our website right now that people can get for free. That's sort of a teaser. It's 100% free. They can use it. They can get the value out of it. It's providing some snapshots of what's going on in the market, just to give people a little bit of a sense of what signal and intel we will be able to provide, but it's really the tip of the iceberg. But right now the team is working feverishly to button up the tools. The first release, which is a product called Trade Ops that we'll be releasing on Energy Trading Week in October 29th, and then we'll just keep building from there. We have a lot of really robust roadmap plans. So the customers that join us will get pretty good value right out of the gate, and then incredible value going forward.
Very nice. So a lot of exciting times ahead, especially with the 29th of October.
It's coming fast.
It seems like you guys are also like preparing like in a nice way, right? You guys are not rushing into it, really taking your time. So when you guys are going onto the market, like you for sure that your product is very solid. Because we can be like, especially like our tech, we can be very enthusiastic about like the tech side of things, but it also has to be like a market fit for the people who are actually like offering value. Very important to have this combination in as well.
Right. So when I gave an all hands presentation to my team a few months ago about what we wanted to do, because we made this decision this year. This is just a few months ago. And we said, this is what we're going to go do. And the first slide in my deck was, I believe the quote was from Leonard Bernstein. And it said, to do something great, you need a plan and not quite enough time. Okay. So you're able to push yourself. We've got to get this done. And so I've found that sometimes the greatest things get done almost when there's a crisis. I didn't inject a crisis into the situation, but in the past, I've had situations where I'll give you an example. A few companies ago, back when like cloud migration was a big thing, right? Like going from bare metal servers over into the cloud. I had asked my team, I said, let's evaluate what it would take to go to the cloud. And they were very careful, and they all gave me these measured results. It was going to take at least 6 months, and we got to do this very slowly because we don't want to break anything. Okay. And it was prudent, and it was cautious. And I was sitting there going, man, there's got to be a better way. But I didn't think the better way was going to be that one of the technicians a third-party technician in our data center pulled 2 SAN disks at the same time, which basically took down that hard drive completely and put us into crisis mode. And we migrated to the cloud in 3 days. And it worked better than what we had when we got there, but it was because the team had been thinking about it. And so they knew in the back of their mind what needed to be done, but there was a little bit of fear of like, do I take that leap? And once the decision was made for us, boom.
And that was what I really like what you were saying. Is like with any change, once there's like a certain, and it doesn't mean like you have to put yourself into crisis on purpose, but if there is a certain urgency behind it, a certain timeline, there is this healthy pressure. There's this saying like, if you have 8 hours to do work, you're gonna do it in 8 hours. But if you can do the same, if you have 2 hours to do 8 hours of work, you can probably do the same 8 hours of work in 2 hours.
Exactly. Very interesting. As the ostensibly the leader, you have to figure out how much urgency is appropriate and how much urgency is unrealistic, or how much urgency is unfair. And so you work with the team, and the main thing is you have to remove the fear. If you make a mistake, if there's failure, it's okay. We learn from it, right? It's not, oh, the end of the earth, right? It's okay. We made a mistake. We take our lumps. We dig ourselves out of that hole as quickly as possible and move on and learn from that mistake, and hopefully not make it a second time. But that balancing act on how much urgency to create, right? That's the key.
I think that's an art on itself, because if you put it like right, you're in the sweet spot. That means like everyone is working in the most efficient, healthy ways possible. But if you just go over it, like there's this pressure where people might not function as they could, right?
It paralyzes people. Like if you get it to the point where there's too much fear, or it's just overwhelm, right? And then you burn people out. So again, I don't try to do this all the time. I'm not trying to constantly create artificial deadlines, if you will, right? But in this particular case, our business conditions as a company, what the market was doing, the availability of the tools, our presence at Energy Trading Week, all of those things seem to align into something that I could say that is a marker that we need to hit, right? That's an important thing for us as a company. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it. We're doing it. Whatever it takes to get it done, that's what we're doing.
Very nice. And that's not even like an artificial thing. It's gonna happen either way. So it's not even that you're doing something like artificial. No, there's a deadline, and you guys are working on finishing those deadline. The 29th of October, that's like a pretty interesting date for you guys.
Yeah,
right?
we've got a team going down there, but keep in mind, it's a fun thing. You talked about go to market. I'm mostly thinking about the technology piece right now, but on the go to market side, right, you've got to say who's going to be there on the floor on the team, right? What is going to be our messaging? What's the booth going to look like? What materials do we give people? Do we do a QR code? Do we hand them a piece of paper, right? What's really funny in this day and age is that there's some folks that have been around a longer time, like me. Sometimes when they go to a show, they want to have a piece of paper that they can read. And some folks are like, I don't want to be bothered with paper. This is 2025. Give me a QR code, send me an email, text me, whatever. Tell me what I need to know. And so there's a balance on what materials do we do. And then here's another funny one. This goes down to even the swag that you give out. Right? What do people want? Do they want hoodies? Do they want quarter zips? Do they want pens? Do they want crayons? Do they want yo-yos for their kids? What do they want? Even the things that have your logo on them, make a difference as far as, the receptiveness that people have to your booth. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, sounds very interesting. And if you like Harry Potter, you had like if you had like a magic wand, and right now you're in this launch, so that means like you guys are working towards. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. In the phase where you guys are in right now with this magic wand, you could fix any problem you're having with the snap of a fingertip. Like, what would you choose with this magic wand?
What I would do is get as many meaningful conversations with as many customers in our industry as I could. That takes a long time to gain the trust, to gain the understanding, to get the calendars right, to have those conversations, because I know that our concepts, I know that our product, I know that our philosophy is sound, right? I mean, other people will do this or something like it or their own spin on it, but I know that what we want to accomplish will help people. It will move their businesses forward. Having more of those meaningful conversations with more of those customers will not only help us help them, but it'll drive our product vision going forward. So that's That's my Harry Potter wish.
Very nice. So what you're doing, you're already convinced that what you're doing works. You can overvalue and just reach more people, the more people know about what you guys are doing.
And they have ideas as well. So like our concept is not finite, right? It's help people make better decisions. So if they have things that they wish they could accomplish and we knew what those things were, we can help them get there much faster.
Yeah. And looking at some of the goals you guys are having, like with Energy.ai for the next, like, let's say 6 to 12 months, what are you guys like working towards?
Really, our roadmap is on two fronts. One is geographic. We think that our geographic expansion will be to start in the Texas region because that's a big, vibrant energy market, and then expand into the other ISOs very rapidly, PJM, ISO New England, CAISO, and so forth in a progression. But in the back of my mind, also, where's the customer base? If we get a lot of buy-in from Europe and they want us to expand into the European markets, then we'll go do that, right? Like there's geographic expansion and then there's role-based functionality expansion, right? We're starting with the front office, the market operators, the traders, but then there's strategists and risk managers in the middle office, and then there's settlements and financial folks in the back office, and then there's the executive level. So we want to expand up the scale, or front to back in the organization, and then geographically as well. So we're growing on two fronts.
For the people who are watching this this podcast right now, right? Like, I think you already shared like a lot of value. I mean, we're all entrepreneurs, so we're all in the same boat. And for the people who are watching, what advice would you give to them towards like really like growing your business? What are some of the most important mindset for you, which is gonna make the difference of you actually being successful, but also not only successful, but also sustainable in a healthy way on the long term?
The best advice I can give is being willing to make decisions and act, and then being ready, willing, and able to take in the data based upon your action and modify, learn, and go is at least for me, what I've learned to be helpful in success. Fear is the ultimate evil. Hesitation, opportunities come and go. Try it, float it, fire it off, see what happens, and then react to that, as opposed to trying to get it all perfect before you do anything. While you're sitting there getting it all perfect, somebody else is going to kick your butt.
So you're saying like do stuff, take action, but not just doing stuff blindly, act upon the data. So if like you're doing stuff, but the data tells you to go left instead of right, act on it, right? So have a learning curve and be able to be honest with yourself as well.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying your initial action should be random, right? You should have a reason and a direction and some logic behind your initial act. But so there was this mind grenade that I got from a Gartner event. This futurist said, name something that you typically wait to act on, that you probably have enough information to go on now, but you're afraid to. How much is enough to say this is directionally correct? I use that term probably too often, but directionally correct. This is directionally correct. I'm going in the right direction. I might be a degree or two off. I might be 5 degrees off. I can steer the boat or the bicycle if it's rolling. Did you ever try to stand on a bicycle standing still? You fall over. You got to roll to get the momentum, and then you can steer.
Yeah, very nice. And towards the people who are watching it, like, and they're curious about you or Energy.ai, like, what are some of the ways they can connect with you?
Well, I mean, they can go to the website. I'll give you my phone number, 203-246-6261. Text me, call me, email me, mparrella@energy.com, ENNRGY.com. I am happy to talk to anybody. Sometimes, and if there are other CEOs out there or other executives or whatever, sometimes that's a lonely place because sometimes you're making a decision that's not popular, or sometimes there's a lot of pressure. I love shooting the shit with people, so bring it.
Very nice. So everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Michael, I make sure to put all the links of you and the company down in the description below so they can find you there as well. And yeah, thanks for you being here. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.
Joey, thanks for a great podcast. Appreciate it.